How are you, everybody? An open forum Monday, the last Monday of March. Wow. Last day of March tomorrow. Hard to believe, huh? Not a good start for the A's. They lose again. They are now 0-4 to start the season as they open up a three-game set in Atlanta. They don't even score. They get shut out by the score of 4-0. So a dismal start for the A's. I mean, I know it's 162. I get all of that, but boy, oh boy, not the way you want to start a season. Giants, Padres, they're in the second and no score. Boy, do the Giants need to start figuring out a way to get some runs on the board here. And listen, again, I understand it's March, so I don't want to go crazy on this. But in the NL West, you do not want to fall behind by too many games with the Dodgers. Because I'm looking at that ball club for the Dodgers, and I just don't see a slump in them. Like, I could see them maybe losing 2 in a row, having a bad 3 out of 4, but they're not going to lose 10 of 11, right? They're too good. They're just too good. They're just too good. So, I mean, if you are a fan of the Giants, and again, I don't want to go crazy here because we are talking about March, but you do not want to fall too far behind. Pretty bad for the A's so far, especially with what seems like a good young offensive team. Exactly. That's exactly right. They struck out 50 times. 50 times this weekend in Toronto. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. 50 times in 3 games. What's going on with the NBA or the MLB? Now to the NBA. Some games that are going on. Suns are leading the Grizzlies by 15, 6.5 left in the fourth. Spurs all over the Bulls. They'll win. Timberwolves taking care of the Mavs, up 68-53. 4 minutes gone by in the third. Jazz at the half trail at home to Cleveland, 63-53. Thunder lead the Pistons 27-21. Wizards and Lakers in a little bit. Heat beat the Sixers, and the Hawks beat the Celtics 112-102. So that gets you caught up on everything right there. Listen, college basketball over the weekend, everybody buzzing about it. I get it. Great theater. Got to be really difficult if you are a fan of the Duke Blue Devils today. That is for sure. Said, once it gets super hot, Grant, the stands will be empty for the A's. Probably. You know, I think they benefited last year because it was a mild summer. I think they got a little lucky last year. Plus, you know, first year in Sacramento and everything. But, boy, if it gets to be a scorcher this summer, and if they're not playing well, that would be a bad combination. That would be a bad combination. All right, they're going to the third in San Diego, and the Giants and the Padres are scoreless. All right, I love this call with Scott earlier, but I disagree on his take with AJ. Pick the best player available. You know, he thinks he's going to be a really good player. He just questioned some of the characteristics about what he saw in him. But, you know, again, that's just an observation that he had. Kings season can't end soon enough. Ready for this to be over. I've been ready for this to be over for a couple of months. And I hate to tell you that I told you so, but I told you so in October that this season would be a disaster. And it was a disaster. Now, I didn't think you'd have as many injuries as they had, but I thought it would be a disaster back in October. But I'm with you. I am with you. It cannot end soon enough. We are in agreement there. That's for sure. Tomorrow, Mike Pereira, the NFL on Fox. Big story developing with the NFL officials. We're going to talk to Mike about that. And then Sean Salisbury will be on at 5 o'clock. All right? So keep that in mind for tomorrow. Mike Pereira, NFL on Fox at 4. Sean Salisbury at 5. Big story today with Jaden Ivey being released from the Chicago Bulls. He went out and talked about Pride Month and he had a lot of things to say on Instagram. The LGBTQ community had a lot of things to say. And I'm not even going to get into whether I agree or disagree with what he said, because no one cares what I have to say. But I thought it was very interesting. And a guy that's going to be on my show on Wednesday, Olden Polynice, he said this on social media today on X. I am an ally of the LGBTQ community, but I don't understand the Chicago Bulls waiving Jaden Ivey over a statement calling NBA celebrating Pride Month unrighteousness. The NBA is a hypocritical league. Okay? They're hypocritical. They talk about the LGBT community. They talk about Pride Month. They celebrate it, blah, blah, blah. And then they go play games over in the UAE. I'm sorry, you can't have it both ways. Can't have it both ways. Just can't. Just can't. Imagine if the Kings would have picked Ivy over Murray. Yeah, good point. Good point. I don't think Jaden Ivey will play again in the NBA. I think he'll be blackballed because the league is a woke, politically correct league. Trust me, I know. I know. It's amazing the country we're living in. Not all good either. Knicks looking shaky lately. Brown was tinkering with the lineup in the fourth quarter last night when Cat was hot, took him out, reinserted him when the Knicks was out of it against OKC. You know, Patrick, we talk about this, and we've been talking about this the whole year, right? You know, the Knicks are going to be judged on one thing and one thing only. They're going to be judged on what they do when the playoffs begin. That's it. Nothing else matters. Nothing. And they're right now third. They're a game up in a loss column over Cleveland, 2 games back in a loss column of Boston. They've lost 2 in a row, but they're going to be judged on one thing and one thing only, and that is how they're going to be doing in the playoffs. That's it. Nothing else. You know it. I know it. Okay? That's just the way it's going to happen. That's just the way it is. Plain and simple. Giants are on the board. Finally, they get a lead. First lead of the year. Thank goodness. And I'm not even a Giants fan. Bader with a homer to center in the third. 1-0 San Francisco. First lead of the year. First lead of the year. Boy, what a relief that's got to be in that clubhouse just to get on the board. Just to get on the board. They got a runner on. Schmidt was just hit by a pitch, so he's on first with 1 out in the third. I'll tell you, these are big games early in the season for San Francisco. Just, I think, for their new manager and just to kind of calm things down a little bit. Just to calm things down a little bit. Again, tomorrow, Mike Pereira of the NFL on Fox. Sean Salisbury. Give me a call tomorrow as well. We'd love to talk about college basketball, the NBA, the NHL. How about Vegas? You know, we talk about moves. Vegas fired their coach last night. Bruce Cassidy hired John Tortorella, and this afternoon, the Maple Leafs fired their general manager. Crazy stuff. Remember when Jaden Ivey got Mike Brown fired by De'Aaron Fox following him on a three-pointer? Yeah, corner 3. Yep. Turned into a 4-point play, and the Kings lost the game, and that was Mike Brown's last game as Knicks head coach, or a Kings head coach. Best thing that ever happened to Mike Brown. Getting fired and going to New York. Getting out of Sacramento. And Mike loved living in Sacramento. I don't mean it that way. I mean that organization. Mike actually loved living here. Loved it. Lived up in Serrano. He loved it. He loved living here. But he talk about winning big, leaving the Kings organization. Good for him. Said the NBA makes too big of a deal about these things. Ivy apologized. He's a young man working out the things he believes in. Not a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal, but I'm not the one that judges. I'm not the one that makes the decisions. I think you should be allowed to speak on issues such as this. Yeah. If you are against a certain way of life based on your religion, you believe what you believe in. I don't think you should be canceled because of that. I don't know what else to say. I think the league is a very woke, politically correct league, and they don't know how to handle these type of situations. They don't. Plain and simple. They don't. And that's just the reality of the situation. Adam Silver is a gutless sports commissioner. Gutless. Absolutely gutless. And that's where we're at. Gutless. I mean, it's not going to be easy for Ivy to get back in the league. Because the team that is going to sign him to a deal is going to have to deal with all of the nonsense that our society deals with when you have a difference of opinion, especially if it goes against the grain. I mean, that's the society we live in. Said, I really want Devin Carter to be here next season. Well, he's under contract. This is very spot on. Coaches like Pop and Kerr, speak on touchy subjects and don't get canceled. Why is that? Great question. I'll tell you why, because their viewpoints go in line with the woke NBA, politically correct NBA. If Kerr and Popovich were conservatives and supporters of the current president of the United States and spoke in those tones, they'd be canceled. That's the reality of this situation. So fighting gets you a technical and free speech gets you cut. Pretty much. Said, I like Carter and think he's an NBA player, but he's not a point guard. Probably right. You are probably right. Hit me up if you want to get in on the program, but I like the questions. Very good. And again, you're right about Kerr and Pop and the Doc Rivers of the world. Nothing happens to them because they speak in the same language as the NBA, the woke, politically correct language of the NBA. If they spoke opposite, okay, they would be ridiculed, maligned, canceled. You know it, and I know it. That's the reality of the situation. That's it. You want the truth? That's the truth. Said, Ivy is an upstanding young man. How do you know that? I don't know, Ivy. How do you know he's an upstanding young man? But anyway, you said he's an upstanding young man, said nothing wrong. He is gone, and yet the Grizzlies starting point guard is still in the NBA, even though he has broken the law. 1,000%, Grant. It's the truth. I think it will be a bad look if the Kings draft Boozer because of how Bagley went. Plus, they're both. That's the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard of in my life. Go away, would you please? By the way, as far as Morant, did he break a law? Or was he just stupid? I'm trying to recollect. He didn't break a law, did he? Unless he was charged with unlawful possession of a firearm when he was in the club? I can't remember. I can't remember. I can't remember. Straight facts. That's what we deal with here. It's exactly right. 100% straight facts. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Would I vote for Luka for MVP right now? Probably not. But he'd be in my ballot. That's for sure. He'd be in my ballot. Giants leave two stranded in the top of the third, but they get the home run from Bader and they lead by the score of 1-0. Would an Ivan suspension be more realistic for Jaden Ivey? What's he going to be suspended for? I mean, he voiced an opinion that's against the NBA's stance as it relates to the LGBT community and Pride Month. What are you going to suspend him for? I mean, is there more to this story than meets the eye? Maybe there is. I don't know enough. I'm not in Chicago. I've been trying to follow this story a little bit. You tell me. Is there more to it than this? I mean, I don't know what else to say. It wasn't just the one social media message. There were some other things. But again, the statement said he was released for conduct detrimental to the team. Now, we're talking about 24 years old. And again, he said that the world can proclaim LGBTQ, right? They proclaim Pride Month, and the NBA, they proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets, unrighteousness. So how is that one can't speak righteousness? How are they to say that man, this man is crazy? Seem a little confused there. But again, the Bulls calling it conduct detrimental to the team. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. It's a bad situation. Again, the Bulls gave up, what were they? Gave up Dario Saric and Kevin Huerter for Ivey. Now, he'd been sidelined with a knee injury, but now he also expressed earlier in the season, I can't remember the month, of dealing with depression. And then he took down his social media accounts, and then he put up his own Instagram account where he's been sharing a lot of stuff. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know where this is all heading. I don't know where it's all heading. I really don't. Do I like the free agent moves the Saints made? I think the Saints had a very good offseason so far. Yes. It was great to hear Scott today on the show. Sounds as healthy as can be. I would agree with you. He sounded great. A lot of energy. That's a Scott Pollard I remember. Totally agree with you. Totally agree. Said this is the league where whoop, that trick was the theme song of the Memphis Grizzlies. Nothing makes sense in the NBA. Nope. Nothing does make sense in the NBA. You're 100% correct. Yep. You are 100% correct. 100% correct. We live in a whacked out society. We really do. And we should be able to have a discussion on all subjects, whether they are sensitive in nature or not. We should at least be able to have a conversation where you hear what I have to say and how I feel, and I hear what you have to say and how you feel, without me condemning you or canceling you or just condoning you as a bad person. Like, why can't we just talk? Why? Why can't we have a difference of an opinion? Why can't we believe in the same thing, but have a different viewpoint on the way things are presented? Like, why is that so bad? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with me criticizing the NBA for their hypocritical ways? The NBA is going to fire Jaden Ivey for what he said, but then they're going to go play a game in Abu Dhabi, in a region of the world where the LGBT community is not only frowned upon, but in many instances threatened with death. Really? Does that make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. You know, you can't have it one way and then go play in a region of the world where if you're gay, your life is in jeopardy. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Said, unfortunately, people don't want to have a conversation about things. People just want to be right. 100% correct. Thank you. I didn't think Morant was arrested either. I appreciate that. Morant was guilty of being stupid. He wasn't criminally guilty. He was guilty of being stupid. We don't know yet. They haven't decided. The NBA Board of Governors will come up with their probably ridiculous plan in May at the NBA Board of Governors meeting. I'm telling you right now, based on what Shams Charania reported last week from ESPN, I've read it a couple of times. I still don't understand. I still don't understand. I really don't. I still do not understand. Crazy. Crazy. I don't really care whether Jaden Ivey wanted to be in Sacramento or not. I would never have that prevent me from taking a player if they say they don't want to be somewhere. Wouldn't matter to me. If I want that player, I'm taking him. None of that stuff matters to me. Plain and simple. That's how I deal with these things. You think I'm going to let a 19 or 20-year-old kid coming out of college dictate where he wants to play? If I have the rights to draft him, I'm not. Ivy spoke his mind, and usually from the bench. He obviously spoke his mind, and now he's paying for it as he has been released by the Chicago Bulls. I guess the question is, how is that conduct detrimental to the team? Like, explain that to me. How is that conduct detrimental to the Chicago Bulls? He's not speaking for the Chicago Bulls. He's talking how he feels. He didn't say the Chicago Bulls should do this or do that. He's saying what he feels. Am I mistaken? Did I miss something? Said, I found a college basketball tournament to be more enjoyable than a regular NBA game. I don't think anybody would disagree with you there. I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on. Boy, this weekend was great, wasn't it? The tournament's been really good. The entire tournament been really good. Really good. All right, hit me up. Keep the messages coming. I'm only going to be with you for a couple more minutes. Don't forget, tomorrow, Mike Pereira, the NFL on Fox, Sean Salisbury. Wednesday, I've got Olden Polynice. Brian Knight is going to come on, the recently retired MLB umpire, to talk about the ABS system, which, you know what the ABS system's doing? It's making the umps that are not really good behind the plate look really bad. That's what it's doing. I think it was, what's his name? CJ Buckner looked horrible this weekend. It was embarrassing. That's what's happening. If you're pretty good at your job behind a plate, it's not really making you look that bad. Nobody expects you to be 100%. But when you're missing multiple pitches throughout the game, then you're looking bad. That's what it's doing. It's making some of these umpires look really bad. I mean, that's where I'm at with this. Said, I think Keegan is very underappreciated, like how Barnes was for us. Keegan needs to stay. Well, he's under a long-term deal. All right. Said his teammates don't give a darn about his comments. Probably not. They probably don't. And quite frankly, there are probably several of them that feel the way he does, but they're too afraid to speak up. That's the truth. That's what I've always found being around teams. When there's a controversial remark made, the individual that makes it's not the only one that feels that way, but the only one that has the moxie to go out and say it. That's been my experience. I don't know how it is in this one because I don't know any players on the Bulls. Said, I like the challenge system so far. I think a lot of people do. I'm not crazy about it, but again, that's just my opinion on it. I'm not crazy about it. All right, let's get you caught up. The Giants are in the, let's see what inning they're in now. They're up 1-0 against the Padres in the fourth. And they've got 2 men on with 1 out. They got to start. They really need some key hits here. Like they are leaving too many runners stranded. All right. There's been 2 reviews tonight in the Giants game by both teams. Both were unsuccessful. The umpire is right. Good to know. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. So that means that means they have no more reviews left, no more challenges. Spot on. Cash rules everything around me. It's the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Very true. So true. That is so true. Spot on. Can't really argue with that. The almighty dollar. NBA wants to come out and talk about the LGBT community and Pride Month this, Pride Month that, and how they're behind everything and blah, blah, blah. And then they want to go play games in the UAE. Can't have it both ways. Like you can't. You can't talk about your beliefs as an organization and what you stand for and then play games in a region of the world where that is not only not accepted, but frowned upon legally, morally, everything else. Like, it's like, come on. Hello. So what are you standing on what your real beliefs are, or are you just going to where the money is? Well, I think we know the answer to that question. The NBA is such a hypocritical league. Bader just popped out to second, so now there's 2 outs with runners on first and second. Such a hypocritical league. Seriously. Do I feel that more people would rather watch a baseball game than a regular season NBA basketball game? No, I do not. No, I do not. Yes, Jeff, I'm aware of the rules. Thank you. I am well aware of the rules. What I said to you was, you told me that there were 2 challenges by each team and they were unsuccessful. So if they're unsuccessful, that means they're out of challenges, right? That's what I said. The NBA is woke. Yes. Yes. Rhino is going to the game on Wednesday with the Stockton Kings. Yes. He's a big supporter of the Stockton Kings. He will be there. Yes, he will. Giants have scored another run. They ought to stop the game and award some trophies. Bailey with a single to left, 2-0. The Red Hot Giants with 2 runs finally. Had to happen sometime. All right. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Fox Sports Sacramento. Mike Pereira at 4, Sean Salisbury at 5. Appreciate everybody. Enjoy. Have a great evening. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.